Gethsemane. Once upon a time, I rest on the slope of the mountain of Olives, just across from the Kidron Valley from Jerusalem. I am a beautiful garden, full of trees, particularly olive trees. Some of my trees have lived for hundreds of years. Many people have used my vast greenery to rest and enjoy. Some call me Gethsemane, but the exact meaning of Gethsemane in Hebrew is the oil press. I will never forget that evening when he arrived. It was the eve of the 14th of Nissan. He was no stranger to the garden, as he often did meet with his friends here, but this time was different. This time he came neither to rest nor to enjoy. Rather, his steps were heavy and slow. He came to weep, to pray, and to wrestle with his sorrow. He was accompanied by 3 of his friends and instructed them to be watchful and pray, but his friends slept. In his reproach, he urged them not once, twice, but 3 times to be watchful and pray, but their eyes were heavy. Were they oblivious to his suffering? Shaken by his sadness, I longed to keep him company. I wanted to cheer him up. I moved my leaves, I made my best sounds, but he was not to be distracted. He seemed to carry such a heavy burden. His sorrow and anguish were so powerful that it seemed to threaten his very life. In the face of such torment, he fell on his knees, kneeling near one of my stumps. I assumed he will be fast asleep, but I was farthest from the truth. He trembled in pain as he cried, "My soul is exceedingly sorrowful unto death." I saw him pleading and interceding, then crying and weeping. What could have caused this man all this grief? In his agony, I saw him sweating. His sweat was great drops of blood pouring out of his skin, falling down upon the ground. He was deeply troubled. But then, to my amazement, I saw a shining light, like that of an angel. Yes, an angel appeared to him from heaven to strengthen him. I bent down my branches, perhaps I can listen. I heard him as he lifted his eyes towards heaven and said, "I have glorified you on the earth. I have finished the work, O Father. Glorify me with the glory which I had with you before the world was." I heard the angel whispering and saying, "To thine is the power, the glory, the blessing, forever. Amen." So this man has glory, glory before all ages, even before the oldest of my trees were in existence. He seems to be a king, perhaps before all other kings had reigned. He continued and said, "I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world." Who is this man? I thought to myself, this was no casual prayer. He appeared to be as a lover who was hurt by his beloved, or rather, a lover of all creation, which was so oblivious of his pains. But he was grieving, he was distraught, not because of the loss of possession, I have seen those, but he was grieving and praying with all his might, because he had to drink a cup. He said, "O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." Who filled his cup? Why is it so painful? Now I understood the severity. He is drinking a cup that was filled by all the crimes and the sins of the whole world. He looked as if he's so fitting in my garden. He looked like a branch. Yes, a branch. A branch in Hebrew called Netzer. So he is a Nazarene. It is fitting what the prophet Isaiah prophesied. There shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots shall bear fruit. I realized that he is the branch that was spoken of, the true branch, the Nazarene in my own garden, the branch that was implanted and will give forth fruits, not like my fruits, but eternal fruits. That's why he said, I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but you should keep them from the evil one. He wants each one of his people to be a true branch, grafted in him as the real root. I wish I can whisper to every human being, this man who is weeping is the Creator, is the Redeemer. He is saddened because of the sins you committed, which is pressing down on him with such heavy weight of sorrow that blood squeezed out of him like oil from crushed olives. I wish I can scream and say to everyone, stop hurting him. Come and spend time with him in my garden. How can you sleep while he is digging in my garden to implant you and everyone as branches in his tree? Men of the world, perhaps you have never listened to a tree, but do yourselves a favor and listen this time. Your Savior is working hard in his farm to make you rooted. His hands are hurt from all the thorns he had to pluck out so you as branches may grow. He took your thorns and added them to the crown he wore proudly on his head. Men of the world, I witnessed the true Adam being squeezed as in an oil press. I have witnessed the greatest pain. His blood came with his sweat to cleanse all the sins of his creation. He is not of the world, as you too ought not to be of the world. Men of the world, watch him in my garden, crushed of the weight of the humanity's sin. So soften your hearts and weep with him. Spend an hour with him and do not be fast asleep. Come to Gethsemane with him and allow him to fill your cup to do his will. Come to Gethsemane with him and allow him to flow from you like a crushed olive, releasing fresh olive oil. Come to Gethsemane with him and be prepared to witness the greatest act of love. Come and do not let your Savior, while fighting for you, to be alone.